Joining me now to discuss this and more is U.S. Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma. He serves on 4 Senate committees, including the Finance Committee and the Select Committee on Intelligence. Senator Lankford, thanks so much for joining us today. Always great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you as well, Tony. Thanks for all the work you do.
Well, I appreciate it. Let's start with something that you and I share in common. We've spent a lot of time in Israel, concerned about the Middle East, understand the role of Israel, not just in geopolitics, but as believers, as Christians. It occupies a very important part. What can you tell us the latest? I know you also are part of you chair the Abraham Accords. Are we making progress?
We are making some progress, but it's painfully difficult. And we are also at the 5-year mark for the Abraham Accords. And we think about how significant that has been in the region. The Abraham Accords were a moment to be able to make friends when we needed to be able to make friends. And now we're in a situation where those relationships continue to hold. The UAE, Bahrain, Morocco continue to be able to maintain communication with Israel, even during this ongoing war. But right now, Israel, as you had mentioned, and your reporter also mentioned, Israel is on an offensive, actually in Gaza City, to be able to find, locate, and actually redeem their hostages that are actually there. Israel has said over and over and over again, this war would be over if Hamas would give up its hostages. Hamas knows its very existence is based on killing people and taking hostages, and so they refuse to be able to release even the bodies of individuals that were killed in the terrorist attack, much less those that are still alive. And I can't imagine what they've experienced over the last 2 years of being a hostage.
All right, it's I know, as you have, I've talked to some of the hostages that have been released, and just harrowing experiences. This latest push into Gaza City, my sense is, in conversations with those in Israel and also through observation, understanding how difficult urban combat is, but this surge to me appears to come as Israel understands the international community is closing in on them. I mean, we've got the European Commission suggesting that tariff sanctions be placed on Israel. We have the United Nations General Assembly later this month, and we have some of our own allies in Europe wanting to saying they're going to call for a Palestinian state.
Yeah, we got the president saying with Keir Starmer today, even in the UK, is saying that they're going to call for a Palestinian state unilaterally. France has done the same, saying they're going to call for a Palestinian state unilaterally. That doesn't solve the problem. Plus the fact, even if you declared a Palestinian state, who's the head? Where's the leadership? What would that even look like? Who can Israel even negotiate with? Because there's such chaos in Judea and Samaria, and then clearly in Gaza and what's happening there. So there's no way to be able to recognize something that doesn't even have an organization system to it.
Senator, you and I have been together in Judea and Samaria. In fact, we were part of the first groups, official groups, to go into that region. It is much larger, about 24 times larger than what we have in Gaza. And Gaza, by de facto, was a two-state solution. I mean, this would be a disaster for Israel and their national security.
Right. And again, you're back to the most basic thing of leadership there. The Palestinian people don't trust the Palestinian Authority. You have multiple different political parties there. You have no organization. They've not had elections in a long time. And now you have a group of sheikhs in Hebron that are saying, hey, we don't want to be a part of the Palestinian area at all. We want to form our own emirate in this area. And several of the sheikhs coming on board as well and saying, hey, we want to look at a totally different solution, not a two-state solution, but an agreement between Palestinian people and Israelis to be able to how we can actually cooperate together.
That's not getting a lot of media attention because that is a major development. We've not seen that before, where you have Arabs, those living under the jurisdiction of the Palestinian Authority, say, we don't want this corrupt government. We want to operate the way this area did prior to about 100 years ago, when they began to carve up and create this nation state. They were tribal, and they want to live under the families.
One of the most successful nations in that entire region is the United Arab Emirates, and it's a group of families that have organized together. They form their own government and their own coalitions, but each is an emirate, a group of families there with leadership on that. That's a very Middle Eastern model, and the two-state solution is very often the West trying to impose the way we do government, not the way that's actually done in the Middle East. There are Middle Eastern families there in the Palestinian area saying, no, we want to do emirates. We want to break away from the PA.
Right. I mean, this, as you said, a pretty recent development after the fall of the Ottoman Empire and the West imposing and just basically going in and drawing lines and dividing it up. All right, Senator, before we run out of time, we just have about 3 minutes left. I want to shift to domestic issues, government funding. Here we are again.
Yep.
Democrats trying to. I think they're taking a wager. I think they're saying if the Republicans don't blink, we're going to shut down the government.
Yeah, they are. Right now, the Democrats are trying to be able to prove to their far-left progressive base that we're fighting against Trump on it. But when you run into a government shutdown, it's always a charge of the light brigade. Every time Republicans have done it, Democrats have done it. But at the end, it spends more money. It wastes taxpayer dollars to be able to do it. It's all the drama. We look terrible on the world stage. Government shutdowns don't help us. They actually hurt us long-term. This particular one, Republicans have said, okay, let's just keep the government open for the next 7 weeks. Exactly the same funding as we have now, so we can continue negotiations and to be able to finish things out in the next 7 weeks. And Democrats have said, no, we want an extra $300 billion to do an extension of COVID-era insurance pieces that they had done during the COVID time period when President Biden was in place. They want an additional $300 billion to keep the government open 7 weeks. Now, just think about that and all the debt and deficit that we have for the next 7 weeks. They want $300 billion to be able to add to it to be able to increase COVID area healthcare funds. So we've said, hey, let's talk about things, but we're not going to do $300 billion in this process for 7 weeks.
This is what the White House has called for and what the House is poised to passion. I was speaking with the majority leader, Steve Scalise, earlier this morning. A clean CR.
Right.
It just continues what we had in place. Democrats voted for that, did they not?
They did. During the Biden administration, we had 13 different continuing resolutions. Almost every single Democrat voted for every single one of them to say, hey, let's just keep the negotiations going until we can actually get the appropriations work done. This is common practice. If we run out of time, to say, just don't shut it down, keep it going, let's keep negotiating. We're getting close. We already have wide agreement on 3 of the 12 appropriation bills. We have 9 to go. We can get those done in the next 7 weeks on it. That's the right way to be able to go, not to say, I'm going to shut the government down if you don't give me $300 billion and more COVID.
Your sense, the House is going to pass it, they're going to leave town. That creates a lot of pressure for the Senate to adopt what the House has.
It does, actually, except that the last time that this happened, Chuck Schumer and a group of Democrats in the Senate voted for that continuing resolution, and their progressive base just pounded away on them for doing that. So I think Chuck Schumer is going to try to prove that he is fighting against Trump and is going to shut the government down and is going to say, no, I won't do a clean CR just to be able to keep it going. I want to be able to add something to it, and this time it's his new health care piece that he wants to be able to add into it. And so we'll see how that fight goes. Ultimately, though, it's better for us to keep the negotiation going and not have a shutdown.
Yeah. Senator James Lankford, always great to see you, my friend. Thanks so much for joining us.
You bet. Good to see you again. Keep praying for the nation.
Absolutely.